All right, good morning, actually good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Thousand Islands Museum. This is our History at Noon. You've come to the last History at Noon for the 2024 season. We have saved the best for last. All right, Carolyn's over here starting to shake in her shoes now. All right, but again, now we do have a good audience. I don't know how many, I'll do a count later, but I see her, look like we have about 50. But today, I've been a historian for about 6 years, and we always hear people ask about the Sears and Roebuck kit homes, and obviously that's what you came in today. And I always wondered as I drive up and down the streets, is that a Sears and Roebuck kit home or Montgomery Ward? But today we're going to learn a little bit more about these kit homes and how they came about and why there are some of them still in Clayton today. So I'd like to introduce Carolyn Youngs, who is going to put together this presentation. She's been helped by Patty LaShawn. So thank you both.
Well, welcome everybody. I feel like I've been working on Sears Roebuck since last year. I did most of my research work in January, February, and March, and then in April we sent out letters to people that we thought had Sears homes. Some of them came back and told me, yeah, it looks like a Sears, but it was really 1880 and it came from Grindstone. And like 4 or 5 people told me that, and I said, how many houses were on Grindstone that they ended up bringing over here? But I think they had a village over there, and probably what happened was that they decided, they weren't going to be there anymore, and they brought them over. But I'm going to go first before I really get into the houses that are Sears Roebuck in Clayton. I'm going to go down the styles of homes because I think it's important. I don't know how many people in the audience think they have a Sears Roebuck, or they could talk to people who maybe have a Sears Roebuck. But I want to explain the different styles first so that we can kind of get an idea of what homes look like up here and how they're put together. So we'll go to the We should go to the X's. Okay. So the first style here should be colonial. And we have a few colonials in Clayton, and that was very popular from 1690 to 1760, but it was carried on forward. Very popular house, and I think you go anywhere on the East Coast and you'll see a house like that. The next style was the salt box, which was 1700 to 1770, and you'll see those like in Salem, Massachusetts, and different areas. I really didn't concentrate on salt box, but after we got really going with the whole project, we felt like we'll continue even after this lecture and try to put some information together, and hopefully we'll start looking at some of our other styles too. And the last style here is the Cape Cod. Cape Cod is extremely popular. I know I had a Cape Cod, and similar in the fact that there are dormer windows, and that is one aspect that the Sears Roebuck uses. And I got the feeling that they took pieces of houses' styles and put them together to put their kits together. The next one. All right, Georgian is, there's early Georgian and late Georgian, and they're really kind of the same, but you see a lot of this houses. If you go through towns, even maybe Sackett's Harbor has some of them. And same with the Federal. The Federal was 1780 to 1820, and very popular house, along with even the Greek house with the big columns. A lot of the colonial revivals had the columns in them. All right, next one. Patty, next one. All right, so we have the Queen Anne, Carpenter Gothic, and Colonial Revival. Now the Queen Anne we have all through Clayton. Clayton has, I don't know, I haven't gone around and counted them, but I did work, I got started on a lot of my research for the 150th anniversary, and we did tours, and most of the homes were Queen Anne's. and especially on Hugon and John Street, they seem to be concentrated in that area, but there were some on Webb Street and in different places. It was very popular with the turn steeple top. You'll see it everywhere. Let me see what it says. Queen Anne was 1875 to 1800, and I think even after 1800 people picked up on it, and that's why you see a lot, especially since Clayton started around 1871. It's one of the reasons we have so many Queen Annes in this town. The Carpenter Gothic started in 1870 to 1910, and I think everybody knows which one is a Carpenter Gothic. The one on Route 12 across from Shorevine comes right into that. This one is a little more elaborate than the house on 12, but it is a Gothic. It could be a combination of Carpenter and another detail. Did I get them all? Colonial Revival, they kind of changed the look from the Federal and the early houses. Let me see what it says here. Carpenter, maybe Federal. Oh, the Colonial Revival, I don't think it was in this book, but it is typical design. Still has the dormer windows, has a lot of windows, and you see that around a lot too. What's the next one? Tudor. I don't know if there's much Tudor in Clayton. I don't remember seeing the Tudor. One house, and I know that when I started with the 150th anniversary, farmhouse. We went around and they're old. They could be from the 1800s, but they were very popular, and you see that a lot in Clayton. You'll see the big peak and the windows in the front like that. The stone, we have maybe 3 or 4. I don't know if we have half dozen. Very, very early. I have the stone here. No. The stone is early. I think the one stone we really haven't pinpointed, but they go like 1820 to maybe 1880. They were the early construction. People had a lot of stone and they came up here, so they were using the stone to build their houses. You see a lot of stone in Pennsylvania and parts of New Jersey, and I think we have about 4 of those. All right, so we're going to go on. And next one.
Yep. Hang on one second.
Okay.
There we go.
I picked Craftsman's because this particular house, when I started, what I did back in February, I went down every book back there. There are books on every street from the old property tax books that they gave to the museum. And they go from like the 20s to maybe 1960. And there was a lot of these houses. Now this is a little fancier than what you might see in Clayton, and it kind of copied with the shingles on top. But I think it was the basis of what the Sears Roebuck company did. I think they looked at these houses and they said, we're going to work with that. And when we start going down the houses that are here in Clayton, you're going to see that basic design. And then pick the ranch house because there's a lot of ranch houses in this area, not so much in town here, but when you go out on 12 and between the trailer parks and the ranch houses. And I don't know if everyone knows that I had to call down to the National Historical Society in Trenton, New Jersey one year, and I said to them, what are the criteria? And he said, for houses, it's 50 years. So people don't realize if something was built in the 60s or 70s, definitely or before, is it depending on who built it, and it has some history to it. It could be be something to look into for a National Register. So, and then the last one, I think we have, oh yes. This we have, I stuck this in, this is commercial. And I think we have every design. We have the Federal, I know we have the Italianate, the Mansard, which is a straight roof, the Greek Revival, and the Queen Anne. Queen Anne, I don't think we have too much. When you go down the streets and you look up at the top, you're going to see these columns like that. Very, very popular with builders. Every town, it doesn't matter what town you go to, you look at if it's more than especially turn of the century, 1880 to maybe 1940s, you're going to see commercial buildings having this type of corbel, and Clayton has a lot of it. We had a couple years ago, we had a tour of just doing the commercial property, and we could see that we had most of all these designs. And I think, is there one more? The Sears. Okay. I did bring some books with me that I was using for research, and I picked this sheet out because it shows a lot of the basic designs here, and I'm going to go over what Sears Roebuck has for designs and how the houses in Clayton match that design. But you can see here how they're getting very close to what that craftsman was like. So we will start with, all right, before I go down this, I just want to give a little detail on the Sears Roebuck. The program started from 1909 to 1940. Anyone could order from a catalog and conveniently have the building materials arrive by train per your order. So that's why Clayton was very popular. We had trains. And actually, I think there were other towns that were on the train route who also had the kit buildings. Although the kit homes were available as early as 1909, it became very successful after World War I. And you'll see most of the houses in Clayton are 1920s to 30s or early 40s. I'm also going to show, I lived like 26 years in Cranford, New Jersey, and they ended up right at the end, Sears had kind of died out doing the kit program, so they decided to switch gears, and they had their big warehouse in Newark, New Jersey, and they got lucky and bought a whole, I don't know how many acres it is. I think I read it was 12 or 13 acres of land right off the parkway, and that, I believe, is the one development. I mean, there were tons of developments after that, but this development was for the Cranford, New Jersey, and they ended up at the end 172 homes. We'll get to that. I'll talk to that when we get to it there. But just to say, for Clayton, I have seven homes that I'm pretty sure are Sears Roebuck. It was one I wanted to verify, but the owners couldn't find the information they had. But here are the characteristics of a Sears home. It has a cat slide roof over the entrance, one side of entrance gable longer than the other, half moon doors, clipped gable roofs, double hung windows, single pane on bottom, multiple on top, narrow panel windows each side of front entrance, unique shaped steps on sides of exterior chimneys, concave arches over outside vestibules, sun porch on one or both sides of two-story home, and crescent elbow windows under vents on gambrel roof style homes. What that means. All right. What was that?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I live next door to the house, and that's whose house that is.
Yeah, that's my house. Yes.
Oh, that's yours.
Yes. That's why I used it. That's why I used it as the first example.
Oh, okay.
Because I obviously could take any picture I wanted to take of the house. But I'm showing it because it has every characteristic that we just saw on that other form. It's got the dormer windows, and all these little wood sticking out. That is one thing, and I've seen it around town. If you see that, and it's down here too. I've got a gutter here now, but they stuck the boards out on that. You can see I have the entrance on the side, and I have the porch on the side. I have the columns, and then if you look at the side of the house, I have the moon window. I've got the peak and one is longer than the other. I have a side entrance with the door, and besides the fact that I know it is a Sears Roebuck because Strauss has told me as soon as I bought the house, he said, you know, you got a Sears Roebuck. I didn't know when I was buying the house I had a Sears Roebuck, but that was the first thing everybody told me.
You know something, when Glenn would love to sit on the porch, Glenn Howe, the kids would all discover that, and over they'd come from up the block and down on their big wheels, and they'd park out there, and his favorite word, he'd sit out there, who's a good boy, or who's a good girl, and Frances usually was making cookies because she had all of her family around there. But that's how I remember that house as the gathering place for the young ones, 5 and under.
Yeah, except I also have a long driveway, and the other thing about the back of the house is I have a hill.
Yeah.
And I think before Lions Field got developed, they all came over and slid down the back of our house. Now I'm talking 40s and 50s, you know, early with that, you know.
Yeah.
So, next slide. Okay. So now we're going to just go into the inside characteristics of Sears. We have large cove moldings joining walls to ceilings. We have decorative arches or crowns at top of doorways. Lumber marked with identifying numbers, usually on end grain, but very difficult to find because I've had everybody look for them. I can't even find them on our house. Built-in breakfast nooks, bookcases, and decorative niches. So what I did, I have the built-ins, I have the arches with the columns, and another picture, the next picture. Yeah, I have the built-in in the dining rooms, and you can see the tops, and you can also see the molding right here, bottom and top. And then I have the doors that go into the living room that, you know, are good to, especially in the wintertime, I keep them closed all the time because the draft comes in from the hallway. And then here you can see I had coffer ceilings, and not too many people have coffer. It's just a square wood. I think there's like 6 blocks in the living room, and there's a couple in the dining room. And you can see the tall moldings. I didn't have any fancy decorative. You can see here, it's mostly plain. It doesn't have really the decorative look, but I had most everything in there. Next, all right. Now we're going to get back to Sunny Acres in Cranford. What Sears decided to do was they were around the late 30s, and you know the Depression hit, and they sort of slid. They were selling a lot. They had over 100. They started out selling 34,000 homes, and by 1934 they had sold 100,000 homes. But Depression hit, and it started. The idea was not really enough to keep it in business, so they said, all right, we're going to try the development. And like I said before, they picked out the roads here, the property off the Garden State Parkway. This is another weird thing. I was chairman of the preservation board in Cranford, and I got a woman, she was on the committee, and I said to her, you live in Sunny Acres, why don't you try to do something and get it listed historic? Well, she kept at it, and just this past year, I believe, they are now in the historic district of 12 acres. The first were 63 houses were constructed. Modern enemies such as steel kitchen cabinets and linoleum bathroom walls. By 43, all 172 homes in the development were built and occupied. Sears had a contest with $25 prize to name it, and they decided to name all the streets Native American people. I hope when we have the Indian lecture, she doesn't hear this, but this is people like to name properties, Iroquois, Mohawk. I don't know if we've got them listed or not. Oh, here they are. Mohawk, Oneida. I mean, this is in New Jersey. I mean, these are names for up here. Auckland, let's see what we got else. We've got
Mohegan, Iroquois.
Mohegan, right. So, and to tell you the truth, it's really hard. Like when you come off the main road, you've got to know exactly where you're going because you can get so lost back there. It's just like a winding maze. But those houses are not like our houses up here in Clayton. They are little Cape Cods. And most of the people have done extensions. They've taken the garage and made it into a family room, or they've added in the back a porch. So the lady who was in charge of it was very lucky. She found like 6 homes that hadn't been changed, and that's how she got the whole area named an historic district. So do that. We don't need that. Okay, so are we getting into houses? Okay. 740 High Street. This started out, I don't have the year because a lot of the documents that I was looking through, they just wouldn't have the year listed, and I don't know why. I had a hard time getting years. But this home has a double dormer windows on the roof. It has the peak roofs, a center door with the porch columns, and on the side peak roofs were tall pane windows. Then it shows the characteristics of Sears home. So, nice little house. It's one of those that maybe it was Sears, maybe it wasn't, and they just can't pinpoint it. Next one. Okay, 229 John Street is right next to the Episcopal Church. It's exactly really as my house. It's got the enclosed porch, columns on the top, whereas I had them going all the way down, and 3 dormer windows. And then on the side, do we have the side? No, we don't. But on the side, it's exactly like my house. It has the moon window, and it has the same type of pane windows. Oh, I didn't talk, but you can see it here. Now this one has a lot. This has like 3, 4, 5, 8 windows on top and the big on the bottom. On my house, it's 6 on top and a pane on the bottom. And it goes all the way through the house. Every window has some variation of the pane on the top and the bottom. So, okay, 629 John Street was the first house I went to look at, and very excited, but they can't find the paperwork on. They're pretty sure it's a Sears, but they haven't been able to find the paperwork on it. But same thing, columns, center door, big pane windows, dormer on top, but the inside has the same built-in cabinets, doors that swing into the dining room, and large baseboard trim. Exactly. The only difference is this is a much larger home. This was the bigger style, and to me, a very good example of a Sears house. Okay, the next one. All right, 410 Merrick. 410 Merrick, this home is not confirmed as a Sears home, but has many characteristics of other Sears homes. 6 windows on top, dormer style with peaked side. And then I think there is a little, up there, there's a little window. Same thing with the tall windows. On my side, I have the tall windows too. And the 6 windows on top are a dormer style with the peak sides. Enclosed porch, I don't know where the enclosed porch was. The large window in front. The windows in my house especially are larger than the rest of the house. Okay, the next one. Now this one we all lucked out.
Yeah.
It was just put on sale, and so we went right to the realtor's website, and they're the ones that took these wonderful pictures, and it's quite elaborate. Of course, because it's just been sold, I think I did speak to the previous owner. At some point I'm going to have to speak to the new owner, and I hope she gave him all the paperwork. But you can see here with the elaborate above, they've got the above door detail, and they've got the same type of glass doors going in the front with the center stairs and the 4 dormer windows on top.
This home was of my cousin and her husband, Gordon Zero.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yes, and,
I do have that.
It is beautiful inside.
Do you know whether it's been ever researched for Sears or not?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No, no,
All right.
But it's
Let me just
beautiful
look.
inside.
I talked to Christina Tissa.
Yes.
She's the former owner, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It was just bad timing. It's not nice with pictures, but I was in between owners at that point. And you can see another thing about them, and I had it too. I don't know if it showed up in those pictures. They used Art Deco a lot. I have two where I keep my buffet. On each side, I have like just like this, the top part, Art Deco lights. And you can see they also have the brown woodwork, and I can't quite see the bottom works. I have this exact same post, exactly the same. So I'm pretty sure that this is a Sears, but we'll have to do some more research on it. Okay, 820. Okay. We did get the year on this. It was built in 1938. You see the peak roof with the one window. It has the 6 windows and the center door. And I think it also kind of looks like that Craftsman style that we had in the beginning. And that's why I was saying a lot of these homes, I think what Sears did was copy from the Craftsman style, and that's why you see a lot of homes like this style. Okay, the next one. All right. This one, we had an address switch. They own 2 properties, and we figured it out this morning that this is 1717 State Street. And I didn't get a chance to speak to the owners, but they obviously have the characteristics that I've been talking about, the columns, the windows, and you can't see it. It does have a center door, the dormers with the 3. It does have straight on the side. Sometimes they had the straight long windows, and sometimes they had the smaller with the panes on top. Here you can see it. Before this was an enclosed porch. So my windows are just like that. Also, look what's here. Right here, that is a Sears style. So I think it's Sears. You know, I don't know, and it's hard to even say if some of the plants for these Sears houses were passed around by the contractors, because there's too many houses that look the same. Okay, 403 Union is definitely a Sears house. You can see the dormer windows, the peaks, the columns. See this? That's exactly on my house. The pane, 6 or 8, and the big window. I had to, when I had my house painted in 2018, I had storms for those windows, and I sent them over to Governor, New York, to some shop, and they made me 2 more, because I have 4 windows and only 2 had storm windows. So I put storm windows on the other 2. Didn't get a chance to really talk to her, but it's, you know, a 3 dormer window, closed porch in the peak style. And this house was also, there were a lot of other articles. When I say was confirmed as a Sears house, they were listed in all the articles before I did the research. So I know that these houses were determined to be Sears homes. And the next one, I did get over to see this house. That's what I'm saying. It's amazing how many houses that look the same and have the same style. But I did know that this was built in 1932. It has wide floor trim molding, because I went inside and saw it. 3 dormer windows and an enclosed porch, and this has a side entrance going up it. And talked to the owner, and the interior is a little changed around, but it really has the same characteristics. Next one. Okay, this is the Mott Larkin house, which everyone has talked about. Okay. The home has been listed in every article about Sears. There's been many upgrades, but all the original woodwork is still there. Of course, I don't have the interior picture, but you can still see the peak roofs, and you can see the bigger windows, and also this bottom part. I didn't mention that, but my house is the same way. I have the same stonework on the bottom. Okay, and next one.
Carol, is there a basement in these homes, or is it?
Mine
just-
has a basement, yes. They are basements, yes. I don't know if all of them have basements, but I don't know, I think people did basements back in the 30s and 40s. They were,
Really?
yeah, they were interested in it. Of course, mine, I don't know if I'm on a spring or where I am, because I get a lot of water in my basement all the time. This is unusual. We've got some unusual ones coming up. This is the Borsey Dairy Farm. And this one has always been listed as a Sears house, and you can see the peaks. You can see the window on top, and you can see those tall, skinny windows here. A little bit different in the front. I don't know if I got the year on this house. No, it's listed as, the whole property is listed as dairy farm. So, original farmhouse, but I don't know the year of it, but you can still see, look at here. And, go back if you can. I just saw it at the end there.
Yeah.
Yep. Sears house. Yeah. If you, I think it's just a characteristic they did. They had the wood coming out, the beams coming out, and you saw them all. I don't see it. Oh yeah, I do see it on the peak right here. I don't see it here, but I see it here. Okay, next one. This is was these cottages, now Lonnie's at 1016 State. They're obviously small. They do have the peak roof, and they have a little porch, and they have been listed forever as Sears homes. This is my garage, and this is the guy down the street, same on Webb Street, and you can see, except for the windows being a little bit different, same style barn, Dutch barn garage look, and very popular. Now, I brought some of the Sears books I worked with, and they did offer garages, they offered barns, they offered big houses versus small houses, and they offered all kinds of accessories. So, then, this morning, we just got this one. This is the Thousand Island Winery, and it was built in 1931, and the original cost was $2,462, and the wood is Oregon Douglas fir lumber, and it was delivered by rail to Clayton, New York, and I think everybody, if you have a chance, everybody has been there, and they offer all kinds of stuff for weddings and whatever. Now I was on a tour last summer, and a Clayton boat tour, and the narrator said, "Oh, this is a Montgomery Ward house." And I said, "What? Oh my gosh!" Now you can see it does have a peak, but it's a little bit different than what the Sears Roebuck was. And there is a write-up on it. They go into the story of how they bought it. But I'm just trying to see what year it was. Now they talk about how they found the house, and they were not the original owners, or the second owners. But Montgomery Ward, there was, let me see if I think I got it here. Besides the Sears catalog, you could get from Homes in a Box out of Illinois, publications, Philadelphia and Dover publications in New York had plans on these type of houses, and at the end I'll show you the one I ordered from. But attractive and interesting. So, of course, I work with the Antique Boat Museum. I got some people from the Antique Boat Museum here today. And I was doing they had just put this up new, And I looked, I said, wait a minute, what does that say? It says Sears. So Sears did do engines and motors and boats. So they were endorsed by baseball player Ted Williams and can be found still in use today. And here is the write-up for ordering the boats and the engines that came with it. I think there's like 3 or 4 engines over there. I didn't get the picture. I just found it the other day of the silver engine, but they have a couple of the Ted Williams engine. And then the next one is a
Carolyn.
boat. Yeah.
If I can just make a note about some of the fun that I had helping Carolyn with this. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but where it says christmas.musetechnical.com. If you go to that website, you will find PDF files where someone or some entity has made copies of every page of the Sears catalog, some Montgomery Wards and some J.C. Penney's, back to the early 1900s. That's how I was able to match up.
And we discovered that if you wanted to get it in print, it was like $60
Yes,
per
right.
booklet. So,
But that's where I found the catalog page to match up with the boat that they've got on display at the boat museum.
That's good.
yeah, there it is.
So there's the boat and the motor.
Definitely was a 1964 Sears Roebuck, and people come around at the antique boat and say, "Why do you have fiberglass?" That's because the interior is wood, and then they blow the fiberglass on top of it. And you can see this is a different Sears motor. It's missing a lot of parts to it, but I don't know if these engines are workable or not. But the boat is in very good shape.
Where is the boat?
It's up. It's the launch building.
Oh, it's on
the
the launch
run
building,
and the
okay.
top part where they did the outboard motor display, way in the corner. They stuck this in the corner so it's one of the boats to the left is the one you walk through. And I came off it, and I think I was doing one of the kids displays or tours, and I looked over and I saw this and I said, wait a minute. There's that saying Sears Roebuck. So I made pictures, but they didn't turn out too good. So Patty and I went back last week, I think, and we went and took a whole lot of pictures so we'd have them at a better angle and everything.
Excuse me, Carolyn, do you
Uh-huh.
know if that's actually in Everroot or Johnson and branded as a Sears?
I don't know.
It
Yeah,
was made by Scott Atwater.
Scott Atwater. Okay. Yeah, they don't say it on it, although there are some. If you go through that area, they have little cards in front of them as to their name and when they were built and whatever. But I thought it was very interesting that they had Sears Roebuck boats and engines.
Yeah.
And then here is the red book I have, which first of all they have about 400 plans, and that's why it's very hard to find your Pacific plan in these books. And I've been trying to get the one because my house is right 2526, and this book I have does not show my exact plan, so I'm still looking for that other plan. But this is the people that I ordered from and got the book. It was only $15. That was a few years back. I was in 11 after we bought the house. My mother found it and she ordered it. So if you want to write that down. They're also over there. I have 2 books that was from this order, and then I have the accessory book and another basic book. And then I have my book where I got all the different styles of the houses. This house, although there's one house, a craftsman house, and unfortunately the people were on vacation. I went there last week trying to find out about it, and I'm going to pursue it. But when you come down Mary Street, before you get to Webb, there's like a mustard colored house, and I don't know if they have a red roof or not. Craftsman or something. It's not really like a Sears house. It's really a different house, and I'm going to get to that as soon as I can. I didn't talk about the dairy bar. All right. Does anybody have any questions? How are we doing in time here?
Do you know how much you paid for that house? Or
how much the house was when it was made? Your house?
I'm sure that was probably in the 2,500, 3,000 range. You could, you can kind of comparison the prices that they had. The bigger houses were $4,000 and $5,000. So remember, this was 20s and 30s, where people were ordering it. So yes.
So can you kind of walk through, I take it it's all in the catalog, but it's just interesting to me, a concept of doing something like this. I'm assuming, first of all, you go to a catalog, you pick out what, an outside design, and then you,
yeah,
how
and
does how do you build it, I guess?
All right. Well, this is the people, the way my house was done. They found a plan, and you could call Sears, and you could talk to their construction department, and then they would send you plans, and you would pick out your plan. And I'm sure there was the interior and the exterior there. Then the next step was you would order it, and it would come by train. Now you had a choice. Do you want a Sears contractor to come and build your house, or in my case, the uncle built the house of the house. He was the one who built, and he had a crew. So what he did was he picked up all the material and brought it to the location, and then they built the house.
And it was complete womb to tomb?
Yeah,
including
everything
nails,
was complete.
screws, and
Yeah, it's
everything?
unfortunate because I was talking to Steve Strauss, who is one of the sons of the Strausses, and he said, I remember we had the box for the kit and all, and it was left in some garage, and now they can't find it. I was hoping they could find it, but they couldn't find it. So there, you would get everything, not only just the wood. You would get all the nails, the accessories, everything. That's why those books have you would pick out everything, and that would be delivered. So you didn't have to go, when you think of it, you didn't have to go around to all these different places and do your ordering or anything. So it was right there, all in one package. But you also had to be a train town, which Clayton was. And the same with Cranford, New Jersey. The train came right in there. They have freight and New Jersey Transit. So they were able, they got lucky because at the time when they built it in 39 and 40, there was nothing there. They were able to pick up 12 acres of land, and then they laid out the thing. And most of those homes in New Jersey are Cape Cod look. They don't look at all like the look we have. Nothing the same. Yeah.
Is Sunny Acres unique in that it's completely a Sears?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's why she had luck in getting it named on the historic district. I don't know if they did any around. I mean, they were obviously out of Illinois. Some of the orders came from Indiana. The East Coast, they were ordering. So, yeah, you have to do a little research on. We did find, we found homes that said they were Sears and they were in Indiana and Illinois, but we didn't have much background on them, so I didn't add them to the slide that we did today. It is not easy to really find out. When you think that it was done in the 20s or 30s and the people that did it are all gone, so it's not easy to really find out that you're Sears or you're not. A lot of the houses that after I did that research back in January and February, I sent them a letter and they would say, well, my house was really 1880 and brought over from Grindstone. And I thought, oh, okay, so that was way too soon. So it has to be 1908 or 9 to really the 40s before to be in that time period to be a Sears house. And then after they did that one development, I think they quit it. They didn't do it anymore. And and I remember there were split levels and ranches took off after in the 50s.
I'm wondering about the exterior. Most of it looks like there's some kind of a siding, but there was one that looked like it might have been stucco.
Yes, my house is stucco on the bottom,
Okay.
and then the clapboard on top.
And that would all be part of the kit too?
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I don't know if they had to call anybody in to do the stucco spraying. They
Yeah.
probably had to do that. But they might still have gotten it from Sears, I don't know. So, yes, in the back.
I have one comment and one question.
Mhm.
Our Lindell Cedar home in 1972 was delivered in the same, it worked exactly the same way. It came by rail, came by truck, had numbers on the bottom.
Oh,
of
so
the
and it
boards,
was a
and we had
Sears
to
or
build
was it a
and it had everything.
was it a J.C. Penney or one of
No,
those?
it was a Lindell Cedar home.
All right, so
and
they were
from-
they were copying it. Yeah.
Yeah, the method, but it.
Yeah,
it
I
worked
mostly
quite
today
well.
have been talking about Sears, but like I said before, there are other companies that did, you know, we saw a longer reward up
Yeah.
here, and there were other companies that did it. I don't know when they stopped it. Matter right before I moved to come up here, across the street, the neighbor did a prefab, and they actually brought it on trucks, and they had to do the basement first, and then they had it measured out, and then they brought it in, and like within a couple days, they had it all up, done.
So the
Yeah.
other thing I wanted to ask about is to see if you had heard about it is, I grew up in the Finger Lakes near the Sampson Air Force Base. And the Sears home that I know was actually a cottage for overflow troops
Oh,
during the
okay,
war.
they did do cottages. Remember, I have Lonnie's cottages. We have cottages
Yeah, and
too.
they were little
Little bungalows or-
cottages that
yeah.
were just like
Yeah,
like
the
it's
Sears did
just
that.
like a little one of these. It's a porch in a room with a kitchen and a bathroom and a bedroom.
Right. That
Yeah.
could be Sears, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be Sears.
How many rooms were upstairs?
In my house, it's 4.
Really?
Yes, yes. And I don't know, like in that 629 house, we only had one big house. I don't know if you can find it. I think she had at least 4 bedrooms too. She could have had 5, because that's a big house. She said that house was on the Clayton tour when they used to do like Christmas tours. It was on the tour.
So downstairs, they just had a
Now,
living room?
downstairs, it was on one side, on the left side, this was the living room and the dining room, just the living room, the long room. And then to this window was the dining room, and then in the back was the kitchen. So they were bigger, you know, you could have had 2 rooms, but they were all one room. And then you went up the stairs, you can see there's 2 windows here. I have a feeling it's 4 rooms, because she has a bunch of kids in it right now, yeah, this is the bit, I've seen that in the catalogs, although I don't see the, maybe these are the little worse. But she had, inside, she had the molding and the doors, and she had the display cabinet, and of course she's got the center with the column. And then these windows, now she doesn't have the panes going across, but these are exactly the way my house has. I think it's 6 panes on top and bottom, but she has the plain. Then it could be that they changed the windows, you know, that could be why they're not really the same. Put in new windows.
Carolyn, what about like the plumbing and the electrical?
I think it was delivered too, yeah,
It all came in the kit?
in the kit, yeah, you would get
But
the
you'd
box.
need to have an
Yes.
electrician.
You know, maybe they had to run and get some things, so, you know, from, you know, if you didn't have the right screws or
Yeah.
anything, but you got the nails, you got everything. I had, when my house was inspected, when I bought it, are you kidding me, because I'm not sitting, I'm not standing. I asked my appraiser to look around, and he did, and he said you really can't see, once the house is put together, you lose those numbers. I mean, maybe if you like wanted to redo a room or something, you might find them, because they're right at the end of the wood, so it's like a big jigsaw puzzle. You know, you gotta line up all the numbers, you know, and I'm sure the instructions are given. There's one person, and I didn't include, I think it's 522 Alexander. We had problems with that one. 522 Alexander Street had been listed on the previous articles, but that had just changed owners. The new owner did not really have all the details, and I couldn't get a hold of the old owner. But I'm pretty sure that house is a verified Sears. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to drop it. I'm going to try to keep working on it, and if anybody knows, if anybody wants to come in, and I will probably start a new book, because we have the 4 listed in the back of one book, and we didn't even have a label right. It took me a little bit to find it, but you know, we're going to try to be expanding it. yes.
Do you know how many total models were offered and what the
400 to
square footage
450.
range was?
Yeah, it was in the 400. That's why, you know, you're just lucky if, even when you get these books, if your plan is in a book, because I've looked at everything. Now, there is that list that person put together. And, you know, if you don't have anything to do on a winter day, sit there and go through all those pictures, you might luck out. Yes.
Did they actually build these houses and then take them apart and send them? Or?
No, I don't think so. Well, they might have done a sample house to test it, maybe. But no, they knew exactly how many pieces of wood you needed, windows, plumbing, you know, everything. Like the one house, the barn that at the TI winery that had Oregon Douglas fir wood. They had it listed. That's where they got it from. So your wood be coming from anywhere, you know, where they made arrangements to get the wood. So, but you know, the Depression hit. I think the Depression really hurt them as far as being able to continue it, and I think that's why in 1940 they decided to do that one development in Cranford, and maybe they did a couple more, but they slowly got out of it, and you know, some of the other companies picked up on it too. So you could probably find some. Any other questions?
It's just been very interesting.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.